people in the panel. Okay, so Rob. Well, Rob Bowe introduced himself. I really don't have much to add except on a personal note to say that I know I speak for many faculty at National Louis where we say how much we miss Rob. We wish we had a clone. We have wonderful people working here, but we all bring our own special qualities, and Rob's one of his many special qualities was his eagerness to work with faculty on so many different areas, and he was especially great at getting faculty to kind of understand what their own needs were, and so that he could work with us. And so people came from all over the spectrum, from people who were supposed to be 20s. People came from so many different backgrounds, but it didn't matter how, what your background was. He made you feel like you were doing a great job, and he was ready to kind of move forward with you. So he was very instrumental for several years in helping me learn a lot of new skills. We also did a research project together and presented it at some conferences. So I was able to really have a wonderful education from this colleague, who I still consider a colleague. So, and friend for sure. That's right. I went out and took a couple one night. So we'll tell you those stories after the meeting. Anyway, Rob, here you go.
Good to see you, Jeff. Thank you. I'm going to switch microphones because I think we need it. So is that now working here? Anthony, can you hear me? Is that just shut off? Okay, how's that? You guys hear me all right? Okay, I figure I got to press the buttons, hold my script because I've got it. This is mirrored there, and we're recording all this for online. So, in any case, it's a real pleasure to see everybody again. And yes, Jeff, the technology toolkit is alive, very much present, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit tonight. I wanted to talk about the changing landscape of communication that we're seeing in schools, but it also give a little bit of the background of what we're seeing in schools around the country. This is my daughter's backpack, and every so often you still pull out of there. Hi, Harry. You pull out of there, a worksheet that didn't quite make it to us in one piece. But what we're seeing is that obviously through the use of communication tools like email, we're able to make sure that things get to the proper place. Now, this might come to you in the form of an email. As a parent, I get these very regularly, where it's just a link to the school website, and that kind of avoids the backpack sinkhole of communication. So this is really a way to communicate to parents in a much more effective way. The hard part is to making sure that it's attractive enough to get parents to actually click and read what they're actually getting there. So, there's companies out there that make templates, and you can use these templates that capture a much more attractive way for schools to actually convey their message. Because it's all about messaging these days. It's how personable can the school come across to their parents, how attractive can they make them, inviting parents to be a part of it. And so you can go ahead and create these templates. And so this is an example of the Franklin flyer that we also, as a parent, constantly get in many cases. As you can see, it still, though, doesn't come with a proofreader because the kids did not vote for themselves to be called backlogs. In any case, the obviously when it came to phones, there was another breakthrough that we saw, and now for the first time, teachers were saying, well, listen, now, if you want us to communicate via email, if you want us to communicate more on the phone to make more of a communication link to parents, now you're asking us are we going to lose time that we should be spending on lesson plan? So the question then came, is this a good change? And I think what you're seeing is the answer to that is probably a yes, because what you're doing is that you're now dealing with the student as the individual and saying to them, we see issues that the teacher needs to be able to quickly reach out. The parent wants to be in communication. Email isn't always the answer. They need to be able to reach out and have that personable exchange. So there's an article that just came out. I don't know how many of you saw this in the school news. And so they're talking about these 5 trends that have been catapulted by blended learning. Well, so let's talk a little bit about what blended learning is. The gist of this article is generally the ability to use digital tools to be able to get students, teachers, parents all working together towards increasing student learning and understanding. So it does come down to using the right tools at the right time. It doesn't mean always technology is the answer. It means making sure that you're aware, though, of what those are. So immediately what it did is remind me of the idea that why do only some kids have an individualized learning plan? Why don't we do it everybody? Well, I think we're getting closer and closer to being able to bring that to our students because we have the capability of doing it. I'm going to show you how these tools all work. And part of it is making sure that teachers and students are familiar with the technology tools that are available to them. So that's a key point. Now, I was joking with some people that I had done this presentation about the technology toolkit, and metaphorically, what this does is it says to teachers, and this, you can tell this is the same group that I presented this a few years ago, but it says to the teacher, there's no magical formula for how technology should be used and when it should be used and how much you should use. The thing is the teacher has to be aware of all of these tools in order to use them at the appropriate time and place. Whether you're doing remediation or you're doing a lesson plan, they have to be able to say, hey, listen, I think it's a good idea to use these tools that are available to you here. And so those tools are also important because what we want to do is then communicate to parents whether or not their student is actually doing a good job in school. And so now we're getting back to the communication piece. We've got the right tools, technology tools that are out there. We've got a way to communicate with the parents. Well, how can you actually then relay that information from the classroom right to parents so it makes sense? So let's look at, this is Jeff Thompson. He's a 7th grade math teacher. We use a program called Mastery Connect, which for some of you are probably familiar with that name. And what it does, it combines all of his students from our student record keeping database, updates it regularly, and he sees all of his students, and he's able to create assignments, tests, quizzes, whatever, put it all in. So it's an electronic gradebook, so to speak. So one day Jeff might have his students actually do for math, he can actually in some cases say, all right, do this worksheet. Now the kids do a bubble sheet. And what's really cool about one of the features of this is the bubble sheet, you bubble in your ID and all of the answers. Oh, what's really great, you walk up to Jeff's computer and it simply scores it right there. And so the information gets put right into his gradebook. So inside of just a few seconds, he can have all that information put in there. Well, Jeff knows very well that you can't depend on bubble sheets to teach math. So there are assignments where he blends whether or not it's a bubble or handwritten corrections that he needs to do. So then he can then go in and enter in those information right into Mastery Connect. But he has that capability of being able to do that. And so this is what he ends up with. So at a glance, he has the ability to see, if you see green, that's great. If you see red, well, when he sees red, he says, whoa, I need to stop, I need to go back and remediate what's here. And he says he does that on a regular basis. And then for those students that need extra help, then he provides online resources like Khan Academy or something else he may have created himself. On the parent side, this is what they can see. They can see that the sixth grade math, well, the students so far have been assessed a certain amount, but there's a little bit of a red there that shows their students doing so well. Well, they can then dive down into that information and say, well, you know what, they didn't do well on the interpreting and computing quotients and fractions because what Jeff had to do was also align the correct count or standard right into his assignments. So it's all coming full circle with everything that's there. It reminds me a little bit a few years ago here at National Louis, and remind me, who was that person that we were invited to go here to speak about bringing data to life and making it live instead of just being numbers in a Excel spreadsheet. I'm drawing a blank, but it was, I remember people coming back from that and saying, wow, that is really the epitome of what we need to be doing. This is kind of going along those lines. Here's another example of Power School, which also has a student parent portal login, allowing everybody to be able to see their grades and their progress immediately. And the good thing about it is that what it in essence does, and according to the article, is that it's now giving the students the ability to be responsible for their own learning because they have not only the teacher teaching in the classroom, but they've got the immediate assessment feedback right away that they can look at home or at school. And then with the remediation help and the links to various things, that then you can actually see all of the resources that might help you to go from the red to green and get mastery of the information. So you'll notice in this picture, it's not everybody's doing electronics. There's some doing worksheets. There's using different tools that are available for them. That's what I was trying to capture here. Again, it's not just technology. It's what is the teacher directing those students to do. Here's a school in Elmhurst uses a program called Seesaw, and you're going to hear a little bit more about that from Becky later on, where the student can present a portfolio of information, and the parents can comment on it. Here's another where the Seesaw program does a nice job of providing multimedia, and so you can actually see that performance that the student did in school and be provided with that. This is, again, what the parent sees. Actually, this is the Range Highlands where they use Schoology. And so every day the teachers log in, they can see what's happening in their class, and it displays what's happening in his calendar, a wide variety of different things, assignments that may have been submitted, and where they are with certain things. And at the same time, the student's portal side of it shows, well, here's my assignment. It's that spreadsheet that's up there, but then down there you can actually see some other comments that might have come in about that assignment that is a good grade. So again, you're providing that immediate feedback that's there. As a parent, ultimately what I get now, and we were talking about the cat out of the bag, is that I know what is happening with my daughter's grades on a weekly basis from every single class, because it just gets generated and pushed out via email for everybody to see. And that's one of those communication things that this comes full circle once again shows us. The old joke about how if you ever want to go to figure out one form of communication is the nurse always sending out emails. Well, now you can do, besides alerts to whether or not the school's closed, because of cold. Well, when you think about all the germs that are in schools, it never is more true than all the updates. And as a tech director, these all pass through my email, so I see every single health alert that goes through. And you'd think we were working in a hospital. We've got everything from strep throat to lice, we've got flu, and even mono. So it's a wide variety of things that communication is almost too much. Teachers are using their websites to provide homework updates so that parents can go in and see, okay, I have this teacher, well, we'll go and see what the assignments are. Well, that changed recently at our school where we just decided it was too difficult for us to actually, for parents to have to go into every single website. Why not install that at once? So with a really easy Google Doc, now all the teachers update the assignments, and the parents just have to go to one website. They can see exactly what's due for that night. And that, again, communication. Parents want to be able to see, well, what's my child not telling me? Well, now you can see. Let me just share a little bit of survey information. This is from a survey that the Tech Geeks of Illinois belong to. It's the directors of technology. There's only 30 responses here, but I think it gives you an idea of how websites are being used in schools. Just over half of schools, according to the 30 responses here, host off-site. They have a company that hosts their website. Would they recommend them? Generally they're very happy with them. But one of the complaints that I think might be why people say no, they wouldn't recommend their post or their website post is because it restricts teachers from being as creative as they possibly can in designing their website. So what they want is more flexibility to be able to say, this is how I want it laid out. Well, some of these very rigid websites can follow the rules and get them. So then you end up with teachers who then say, well, listen, I want to be creative. So they still use a program once more to create their own website. And this is an actual teacher, and this is just one example. Weebly is another example of a website that that teachers are going to create their own website. We link from the website to this one that they maintain. They find it much more user-friendly for what they're trying to do. So if you're looking for ideas of what you want to teach your students, it might be something that gives them a little bit of a background of what to do. Who's maintaining the teacher website? Well, the technology staff is one. Administrative staff and administrators. Notice number 3, there's only the third one down is students. Used to be kind of a fun idea that we have students maintaining the website. But the other thing is other, and I think that's where you see the teachers probably fitting into the website. Notice instead of 30 responses for social media, there only are 9 responses total. And that's interesting because even though Facebook and Twitter dominate those 9, I think it also might indicate that some schools are not necessarily embracing social media as much as we might think, but to control the message. And maybe that's an area for improvement, talking about how we get our message across using these very popular messaging. Our schools going and redesigning their websites so that they're responsive to all the different needs of their parents and different devices. In many cases, 50% are designing websites to be responsive. And that means they're trying to make their website come alive on the small phone of many different sizes. Finally, I just want to wrap up kind of what all of this means is schools do need to promote blended learning and the use of technology in the proper place. Teachers do need to become familiar with not only teaching with technology, but assessing with technology and communicating with technology so that you can do this full circle. Students can be responsible for their own learning if they're given the opportunity to use those digital tools to work for them, keep them on top of what their whole education is progressing. So that's it for me. Did I stick to my 20 minutes?
You did, and then some. We're going to leave questions.